All right, guys, so let's go ahead and do these short response questions together. Now, all of these questions were from a past Regents exam. So any questions that you see at this point, they were on a Regents exam from the past. So let's read the first one. State 2 ways in which a single-celled organism, such as an amoeba, and a human body cell are alike. So we're going back to the characteristics of life that we just spoke about in the mini lesson. So 2 ways in which a single-celled organism, such as an amoeba, if you Googled it, looks something like this. It's pretty cool and moves around. And a human body cell are alike. Now, let's use this space here for the notes that we just took. We know that all living things reproduce. All living things have energy, need energy. All living things excrete waste. All living things are made up of cells. All living things keep a stable internal environment, and that is homeostasis. Now remember, the question asks for 2 ways. If you only put one, you're not getting the point. You don't get half credit. So the Regents doesn't work with half credit. You either get the point or you don't. So you can choose any one of these. Any one of these you can choose, okay? But we're going to write it in a complete sentence. Okay, so you don't need to reinstate the question. You don't need to rewrite that whole question because they only give you a limited amount of space. Okay, so let's go ahead and answer this. State 2 ways in which the single-celled organisms, such as an amoeba and a human body cell, are alike. So you can say they are both alike because they both need to excrete waste and they are both made up of cells. That's it. That's it. That's all you need to put. And you will get the point. Now here we mentioned that they're both alike because they both need to excrete waste and they're both made up of cells. You could have used anything else. They both reproduce. Not that they need to reproduce. They both reproduce. They both need energy. They both maintain homeostasis. They both excrete. They both are made up of cells, but you only needed 2. Okay, next question. Let's take a look. A student brings a specimen and claims it is a living organism. Explain how a microscope could be used to determine if the specimen is a living thing. Well, I'm sure you know what a microscope is at this point, especially if you took the class. A microscope helps you see things that you can't see with the naked eye. So if someone gives you a specimen, let's say they give you something and you have no idea what it is, how do you know that this thing that they gave you is living? Well, remember from the mini lesson, the most important thing is that living things have to be made up of cells. So you would have to take a small sample, put it under the microscope, and you need to see if it's made up of cells. Okay, so that's what we're going to put. That's what your answer should be. You should take a sample of that specimen and view it under the microscope. Period. If you see cells, then that organism is living. Or should I say, actually, let's correct that. That specimen is living. Excellent job. You get the point. All living things are made up of cells. And cells, you can only see them under a microscope. Okay, next question. State 2 ways living and non-living things differ. Well, we're going to go back to what we said before of the characteristics of life. Okay, let's add another one. Grow and develop. Okay, so state 2 ways living and non-living things differ. Okay, so you can put they differ because you want to focus on the non-living things. Non-living things cannot grow and develop. Period. They also are not made up of cells. So we have one reason, we have 2 reasons to give us, of course, the 1 point. We named our 2 differences here. Notice how my answers are straightforward. They answer the question. They do not have to reinstate the question. Okay, so you get the point. As long as you make sure that you answer the question, it's not long-winded. You don't need to fill everything up. This is good. 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. So I hope that your answers were very close to what we discussed here. And now let's move on to the next chapter.